Vanakkam friends, Trinity Cultural Academy welcomes you. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel Trinity Cultural Academy Coimbatore, and this presentation will be on the dry farming and rain-fed agriculture. It comes under the main topic of dryland agriculture. What do you mean by dry farming? It is the cultivation of crops in the region where the annual rainfall is more than 750 mm. Mostly semi-arid crops are being grown and having a growing period of 75 to 120 days. And there is a frequent crop failure. And here, in dry farming, moisture conservation practices are necessary. While in rain-fed farming, and here the crops are grown in the region where the annual rainfall is more than 1150 mm, and mostly the crops are not subjected to moisture stress. Here the humid region crops having a growing period of more than 120 days are being cultivated. And rain-fed agriculture contributes 40% food grain production and supports two-thirds of the livestock population. And about 85% of the coarse cereals, 83% of the pulses, 42% of the rice, and 72% of oil seeds, and 65% of cotton are still cultivated in India. And there is a national organization for dryland agriculture, that is CRIDA, Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture, established in 1985 and located at Hyderabad. In dryland agriculture, there are 5 types of soil. First, we will see the black soil and clay to clay loam type. And the soil is deeper, having low permeability and high organic matter content, as well as high CEC and water holding capacity and low infiltration rate. Fallow soil mostly prone to soil erosion, and mostly the crops like cotton and sunflower are being cultivated. Second type is red soil. It is light textured, shallow to medium in depth with compact soil, possessing low water holding capacity, and it is also prone to erosion and surface crusting, and crops like finger millet and pearl millet are grown. And third type is alluvial soil. It is the deep and light medium in texture, having good permeability, and mostly rice and vegetables are being cultivated. And the fourth one is xeroxamic soils, and it is a deep sandy loams, mostly in desert ecosystem, having low moisture storage, severe wind erosion, poor soil fertility, and formation of surface crust after light showers, mostly available in Tandivada of Hisar and Jodhpur of Rajasthan. And fifth soil type, the sub-montane soil, the dry sub-humid environment, and it is being located in Hosarpur of Punjab and Raktashansar of Jammu and Kashmir and humid tract of Dehradun. Loamy sand to sandy loam, silty loam to clay loam also present, and here also soil crusting occurs. And how to manage the dryland agriculture, we will see one by one different methods and technologies adopted for management of dryland agriculture. The first one is use of cropping system. In the rainfall areas ranging from 500 to 700 mm, you can adopt intercropping to replace the monocropping. And monocropping is a growing of traditional varieties year after year. The intercropping like cereals and legumes, cereals and oil seeds are being recommended. And similarly, sorghum and PGNP, pearl millet and PGNP. PGNP is nothing but red gram. sorghum and green gram, sorghum and soybean, groundnut and red gram. If rainfall is more than 750 mm, you can go for sequential cropping. The examples are pulses and oil seeds, maize and chickpea, sorghum and safflower, sorghum and chickpea, maize and chickpea. And you have to use some mechanical methods to manage the dryland agriculture system. The first one is contour bunding, and here the bund section is 1.6 meter square in black soil, that is otherwise called as wetty soils. Area occupied by the bund is 5%, which is lost for cultivation. In wetty soils, the area occupied by bund is 10 to 15%. Graded bunding, that's a steep slope. The graded bunding have zero point 0.8 meter square cross section in wetty soils, and area lost here is 35%. Tie ridges, the adjacent ridges are jointed at regular intervals. It acts as a barriers for facilitating water infiltration as well as preventing runoff rainfall or runoff water. And bench terracing, and it is practiced in steep sloping fields, and length of terraces is 100 meter with longitudinal grades in the range of 0.2 to 0.8%. Ploughing, it is also practiced to manage dryland agriculture system, and ploughing across the slope and grow low value crops in catchment areas. Ploughing deep soil once in 3 to 4 years. Adopt zero tillage or minimum tillage. And we can also go for reclaiming the problem soils in dryland system. You have to add additional more quantity of organic matter, and if it is a saline soil, you adopt leaching, which is having rich in sodium that will be leached out, and growing green manure crops, apply farmyard manure. If it is a sodic soil, apply gypsum at the rate of 2 tons per hectare, and in situ incorporation of green manure at 5 tons per hectare. It means you have to grow the green manures, and at the time of flowering or before flowering, it should be incorporated by in the same soil by ploughing. And if it is acid soil, you have to apply lime application at 200 to 400 kilogram per hectare. And we have some dryland technologies that are being developed by the TNAU. And first one is reducing evaporation loss. Evaporation is the loss of moisture from soil surface, while transpiration is the loss of moisture from plant surface. About 99% of water absorbed by plants are being lost by transpiration. About 60 to 75% rainfall is lost through evaporation. And to reduce the evaporation loss, you have to go for soil mulch or dust mulch. Loosening of soil surface is called soil mulch. Intercultivation in growing crops creates soil mulch. And the second one is stubble mulch. You have to the crops like the wheat and cotton, the straw or residues are kept or left in the soil surface, and that is the stubble mulch. It protects soil from erosion and reduction of evaporation loss from the soil. And third is straw mulch, and paddy straw and leaf trashes are spread on the soil surface itself to reduce the evaporation loss. And again, the plastic mulching can also be adopted for the evaporation loss, like the polyethylene sheets or polyvinyl chloride sheets are used as mulching material. And then follow vertical mulching. Then that means digging narrow trenches across the slope at regular intervals, and you have to place the straw or crop residues in the trenches. And managing transpiration loss. Transpiration is through the plant surface, the loss of moisture. To reduce transpiration loss, mostly anti-transpirants are used. And we have different types of anti-transpirants. First one is tomatal closing. PMA spraying. PMA means phenyl mercury This is a fungicide. It does not reduces photosynthesis. Mostly anti-transparents, and that is reducing the photosynthesis while spraying because it closes this tomato. But in the case of PMA, it reduces the photosynthesis. It does not reduce the photosynthesis. Film forming types. The examples are mobile, silicon, hexadecanol, and the reflectant types are 5% kaolin spray can be recommended, and also diatomaceous earth product, namely the selite, are being sprayed. Growth retardants like ABA, abscisic acid, cyclosil, then the salicylic acids are also used for as anti-transparents. The main disadvantage of anti-transparent is the reduction of photosynthesis after spray. And we also recommend the windbreak and shelter belt. The windbreak that will obstruct wind blow and reduce the wind speed. Trees used are eucalyptus, silverwood, casuarina, teak, and agatha. While the shelter belt and the trees are being row planted across the direction of wind, which will protect the crop against the wind damage, also reduces wind speed and evaporation loss, and also reduces the wind erosion. And here the shelter belts, mostly the grasses are being used. I have listed out here: sengrass, saccharum, panicum, and again panicum mandibule. There are two species, and shrubs like Calotropis, Crotalaria, Colegonum, Cleodendron, Cassia auriculata, Jatropha, Agave, and Sesbania aculata. The small trees like Acacia, Acacia leucophylla, Caparis aphela, Salvadora species. And trees like Acacia arabica, Senegal, Acacia cynophila, Albizia lebec, Azadiracta indica, Dalbergia sisu, Parkinsonia acuata, Prosopis cinerari, Prosopis juliflora, Pongamia pinnata, Tecoma undulata, Tamarix articulata, Eucalyptus species, and Acacia tortilis. And finally, the spraying of nutrient solutions, namely the 2% urea or DAP, is useful for quicker regeneration and release from moisture stress in legumes. That's all about the dryland agriculture, especially the dryland farming and the rain-fed farming. Thank you very much for listening. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you can get all the videos in the upcoming videos. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you. All the best.